There's a lot of fake news out there, but only one person you can believe. It's time to believe the hype with Legally Hype. What up, sis?
What up? What up? Good morning.
Good morning. It looks like a lot of people are finding themselves on the wrong side of the law. Where shall we begin? Let's start with ASAP Rocky, man. What's going on with him?
Okay, so boom, leave Rihanna baby daddy alone. Okay, they
Period.
bother him. Leave him alone. So the streets is saying that it's Drake and Chris Brown out here trying to get them hemmed up because I read the charges and they don't make no sense. So ASAP Rocky and Riri, they landed in LA, and apparently when they got to LA, the Popos pulled up on them, and ASAP Rocky had got booked for assault with a deadly weapon. Now,
oh my goodness.
But this is not a recent charge. This is something he did a while back, correct?
In November of 2021. So my whole thing is like, he been out here kicking it. They've been at galas and some more stuff. So why did y'all wait until now to come pick him up?
Right.
Like, what's the deal?
What about them running into his house? They said that a SWAT team knocked his doors down. They said they found something.
So apparently they did have a search warrant for his home, which they're probably looking for the weapon. So when you get a search warrant, the police have to tell whatever big homie they get their warrant signed off on, exactly what they're looking for. And they can only look in places where that particular item can be. So my thought process is they was looking for whatever gun was allegedly used in the assault back in November.
Now, is there any truth, Legally Hype, that the anonymous tip was left by a Canadian by the name of Aubrey Graham?
No.
I think it could be quite possible. It could be quite possible.
So what if they don't find the gun there? What is the possibility of him still them going through with these charges? And what is the possibility of him actually doing real jail time?
So they've already, the DA is looking at it right now to decide if they're going to file charges. It's going to be a little bit harder without the actual weapon. However, they have a witness statement. They have the witness who said he shot at me. It could be other forms of evidence. If it was like a video, right, of the altercation, or if somebody else say, I saw what happened, they have all that other evidence that they could use. But as far as I've checked thus far, they haven't filed the complaint yet, which means there's no formal charges. But he is supposed to go back to court later on this year. So
now I'm not sure like how deep his criminal history has been, but we do know famously he was locked up abroad, not too long ago. Do they hold those international charges like on your your US record, or do they look at it like, that happened over there versus the stuff that you did over here?
So it depends. So if they're using it just to show like he has a bad character, 9 times out of 10, the judge would be like, no, you can't bring that in. But if it's something that could be relevant to the current charges, like it may show a trend or something like that, the DA could argue that and try to bring it in as evidence, but it'll be up to the judge whether or not it come in. Right now, that just looks like bad character evidence, especially if you don't find a gun. So if he has a good defense attorney, he can get that knocked out.
And does the fact that his bail was $550,000, does that have anything to do with anything? Because that seems like a lot of money.
I mean, he got a lot of money because if they could have gave me that, my whole student loan would be wiped out right there. Okay, that's how much I owe student loans. It's stupid, but it depends. Again, it depends on the charges, and he got a lot of money, and they had to put resources into this, right? So they had customs up at LAX trying to catch him. So all of that got to get paid for. So
seems a little unnecessary, like you said earlier.
It's a little excessive. I'm not gonna hold you. Like for assault with a deadly weapon, that's a lot. But LA, we do what we want to do, and times is hard, so we need our money.
Meanwhile, Tory Lanez just running around like everything all good.
For now, he better enjoy his time while he out, and he better be quiet because didn't he put a song out? The judge said stop messing with Meg.
Okay?
He did. Now you better make the judge mad, and you're gonna be in jail for something else. So you ain't got that much money. You independent.
Well, child, something else we've seen in the news and everything. We've been seeing a lot of Tokyo Tony, but that's because Blac Chyna is in the courts against Kim Kardashian, the Kardashians, the Rob Kardashian. She's going up against E ultimately for saying that they got their show, Rob and Chyna, canceled for no reason. Right. But now we're finding out there's guns involved and iPhone chargers being wrapped around people's neck. Can she get charged for this while she's trying to sue them?
It depends, right? So let me just tell you the story. Okay, so boom, let's do it. So it depends if the DA decides like, oh, it's some criminal stuff here. You know what I mean? So basically what Blac Chyna is out here saying is like, them Kardashians lied on me. Like, I was not over here abusing Rob. Okay, we was just playing around or whatever, and they wouldn't lied on me. And because they lied on me, they done messed up my bag. So I don't know if y'all seen a couple weeks ago, she was trying to tweet like, "Oh, I had to sell my cars."
Yeah.
And the baby daddies was like, "Knock it off. You only got them kids 10 hours a week. What you mean?" You know what I mean? So, but it was probably a ploy, right? Or it was probably like a strategy to try to say like, yeah, the Kardashians really messed my bag up. The thing about it though is if you got to get creative with your storyline, you probably don't have a strong one.
Okay.
Damn.
So be careful. And you know, them Kardashians, they got as much power as the Clintons almost. So
more, I think, right now.
Right? You want to be careful before you go around messing with them.
So how do you think this is going to work out? Do you think that Blac Chyna will get the payout that she's seeking? Because, I know a lot of times in lawsuits, you aim high. I think the tune was like $100 million.
No, $300 million.
300. So like out of that 300, how much of that you think she'll truly get?
It depends. And the reason why is because she's saying that they lied on her. But when you get on stand and say that, yeah, I wrapped a cord around the homie neck, you know what I mean? And I did, yes, I was playing with a gun. Well, where is the lie? Because that's abuse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't just be willy-nilly running, like playing with guns in the house and wrapping cord. I would not think that was funny. I don't care, male or female.
Hey, Craig, didn't we just talk about this earlier today?
Don't play those games.
That's not funny. And I know people like to get kinky and freaky and stuff like that. But LA, y'all seen what happened to that Dodger player. Okay? Stop. We can't play like that.
So so say Rob is like, you know what? I have emotional distress from her pulling that gun on my head. Can he take her to court without any evidence right now? Because think about it, that would be gone and done.
She just told on herself.
True.
She just told on herself. The evidence is right there and it's documented. It's in court records now. You know what I mean? So that's not going nowhere. That's why you got to be careful. Like, have your story together before you get on the stand.
And can the judge, as far as what he did with Tokyo Toni allegedly telling her that she can't come in the courtroom because the Kardashians are scared and her running her mouth on social media, is that a thing? Like, can you be penalized on social media when you're not a part of the case?
The judge, that's his courtroom, he or she, that's their courtroom. They can do what they want to do. And if they say you're a disturbance for whatever reason, you can't be in there threatening the other side. You know what I mean? Because then that could cause issues later, right? So what if the Kardashians say they lose the case? They could come back later and be like, well, it wasn't a fair case because the judge let her in there intimidating us and this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? Like, it could cause a problem later on. So you got to be cool. That's why a lot of times, like, you'll hear judges like, hey, y'all need to chill out in my courtroom. Yeah. If you make a noise, you up out of here, right? Because that disrupts the flow, the process of what's going on. And don't no judge want to hear from the court above them about nothing they did in their courtroom. So they're going to try to keep it as cool as possible, as fair as possible, because they don't want their name in the books talking about your case got overturned.
Well, another person who's headed to a courtroom for like not so bad reasons, but there could be a bag in the future is the one and only Nene Leakes, who got all the receipts from all the seasons of Real Housewives. What's the details? What do you know?
So apparently, okay, so boom, let's do this one. Nene Leakes is saying that she was in a hostile and racist work environment with Bravo and E and all of them. She basically is saying like they was letting people be racist towards her. And it's when she went to tell them, basically they retaliated against her. She was the one that was punished. So the thing about it is when you bring up these type of lawsuits, the burden is very high because you almost have to show like the stuff that was going on was intentional. You have to prove that people were actually being racist, right? Which is the hardest thing in the world to do because somebody could come back and be like, I wasn't being racist. It was this. You know what I mean? Like, or, you know, or that wasn't my intention to be racist. I was just saying this. So she has to prove all of that stuff in order to win her case. And she's going up against a lot of big dogs. So
that's a big machine. But one thing about Nene, she crosses her T's and dots her I's. And if I look at Bravo, you know, let's just be real. And we look at these housewives shows. For many years, there wasn't a Black woman on the housewives show until they did Atlanta. And then it was only an all Black cast, except for one white woman. And even when I look at Potomac, it's all Black, then all white, then it does seem a little segregated and a little funny. Something don't seem right over there.
Exactly. I can agree with that. which is probably going to be some of the evidence that comes in
Yeah.
to say that, like, look how they moving on this show. And then they'll probably start looking at how much are y'all paying people, right?
Ooh.
What the pay scale look like, you know what I mean? Like how much money you putting into marketing for this one
Because
compared
I
to
know
this
Beverly
one.
Hills is getting more money than over here.
Absolutely.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So they can look at stuff like that. Like, are you being discriminatory in your practices, right? Like, well, what did y'all say, right? When did so-and-so say this? Okay, so then when she came between when she said this and y'all punished Nene, when did that happen? What's the timeline on that? You know what I mean? Like, you can look at little stuff like that, break it down like just like that, and be like, I'm telling y'all, like, they over here being disrespectful. And she might get somewhere on her case, though.
All right. Well, the devil's in the details, and it all remains to be seen. Legally Hype, appreciate you as always. If people want to tap in, find out what you got going on during the week, because you be dropping gems on your channel and on your page, yo. How can they find you?
You can find me. I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I am Legally Hype. Come check me out. I got y'all all week long. Don't even trip.
We are the Morning Hustle.